All right, let's begin with certainly an enjoyable victory when you're on the road. After getting a chance to look at the film, um, Florida State has an infusion of a number of veteran players on their football team, um, and they had them playing very well last night. Um, we we started fast. So, we have a mantra here about 4 quarters of football, and one of them is starting fast. As you know, we got off to a great start. Um, Defensively as well, I think 6 out of the first 8 possessions, other than the 2 big plays, we had them pinned down, and we really needed to finish off the first quarter better than what we did, and that was really pivotal. We had 3 or 4 missed conversions offensively that we needed to execute better. If we do that, we're in a different game. Again, I thought we started fast, and then I think the other takeaway would be, it's a gritty group. When you're up 38-20 on the road and you give that lead up, many teams do not get out of there with a victory, and our guys hung in there. We came up with the big stop when we needed it defensively, and we're able to win it for the first time, I think, in the history of Notre Dame since we've gone to the overtime, won on the road in overtime. So, see how I threw that just out there, matter-of-factly? I'm going to stick with those because they've been confirmed. They just were. They showed the mettle and the grit necessary. So, as I said last night, I really like this group. We got a lot to do, a lot of work to clean up. Our defense caused havoc. We had the sacks. We had we had a number of we had the interceptions, but we gave up big plays, and we're transitioning from a different mindset in the way we need to play defense. And you cannot let your guard down for a moment, or you're going to give up a big play. So we've got some work to do there. Marcus will get that done, and our players are committed to that end. So all in all, we're happy with the win. We know we've got a lot of work left in us to really get better going into week 2. But we're excited to be home. We've got our 24-game win streak on the line. And we're playing a really good football team in Toledo. This is, in my estimation, after watching some of their film, this is probably the finest MAC team that we brought into the stadium since I've been here at Notre Dame. So we're going to have to be prepared. And we're on a short week. It was a physical game. We're really going to have to rely on getting the right preparation and rest to play our best this weekend. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Austin Burnett, you're up first.
Hey, Coach. I know the win was a little too close for comfort, but regarding Jack Cohn, you couldn't have asked for a better start for that kid. And the stat line that he had, how impressed were you with Jack Cohn?
Yeah, I think what was impressive, obviously, he pushed the ball down the field. I loved his demeanor on the sideline. Great communicator. Got the kind of information you're looking for from him. And it's all the things that we had surmised with a guy that's been in it before. And the moment wasn't too big for him, obviously. You go on the road, in that kind of environment, you worry about, how you're going to handle it. And he did a terrific job.
John Finneran, you're next.
Brian, if you could bring us up to date, I want you to know about your injury situation from last night, what you found out.
Yeah. So we've got 2 MRIs scheduled at 2:30. I forgot today is Labor Day. Hard to get an MRI tech into work on Labor Day. But we do have them for 2:30 set for Shane Simon and for Blake Fisher, thank you. Both of them are at 2:30. We think very similar to what I kind of alluded to last night, but we want to obviously make certain relative to the injuries there. Paul Mawala tore his other Achilles tendon.
Oh,
Devastating. And we feel it was an emotional locker room last night. I kind of didn't tip that off to you guys because it was still, pretty raw. But yeah, we're all very disappointed for Paul, and he worked so hard to get back to getting on the field. But we love Paul, and he's he's going to be missed. He's a guy that we were counting on, and it's going to be he's going to be sorely missed.
Bauman.
Yeah, Bauman has a non-weight bearing fracture, so he'll get surgery. He'll have a plate inserted, and no leg. And if all things go well there, that's 6 weeks.
How about the unavailable guys? Do you have any clarity on whether they might be available for this week? And I'm talking about Sebo, Diggs, and Patello.
Yeah, we get that from week to week, so we'll get an update on that probably sometime Tuesday, Wednesday.
So we can ask you Thursday.
Yeah, I'd be
Okay.
fine with that question.
Okay. What do you feel like is the next, after watching the film on the offensive line, especially with Carmody maybe playing at least this game, what's kind of the next step in their development? What do you need to see from them? in
Yeah,
game two?
so I thought we protected pretty darn well. We were pleased with the protection. We had a couple of procedures penalties. We had an assignment error on a sack where we just flat out went the wrong way on a slide protection. But overall, pretty pleased with what we did from a protection standpoint. Look, I'm not here to, make any excuses for anything relative to the run game. We're going to run the ball a little bit better, there's no doubt. But when you're in silent cadence and you're utilizing tight ends on the perimeter, it makes it for difficult cadence to get everybody moving at the same time. And we struggled a little bit with that in unison, getting off the ball. And so, those things are going to get better. And I think from a running game standpoint, we did not see any red flags that are going to say, hey, this is going to be difficult this year. We'll get better running the football.
You alluded to a quote about transformation in the mindset with this defense.
Yep.
But when we look at the run defense, and that was a lot of yards, it seemed like there was some missed tackling as well.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
So what in that small sample size and what you've seen before that gives you confidence that this is pretty fixable?
Yeah, so let me just take you to where we were defensively last year. Essentially, the structure of the defense was that your position, right, by virtue of where you played, your role was you always had that gap, okay? And that's what you do. You have that gap. This defense, 6 different players have that gap depending on what the call is. So it's the corner, it's the safety, it's the end. So when you're moving, it changes what your responsibility is. It requires all 11 players to be locked in and focused every single snap, and it puts you in a position where you got to make that tackle. And so you're putting all of those players in a position where they have to make those plays. And we're getting to that mindset of, look, we got back to 17-play drives again. We can't have that. We got to get off the field. We've been down that road before. That's not where we want to be. So we got back into this, okay, We're going to layer this off. I'm going to try not to make a mistake. We're going to keep it in front of us. And that's not the way we want to play. We want to play with havoc on our defense. We did that early on, and we kind of fell back to our old way of thinking. And Marcus is going to get that turned. Hard to turn it in week one. We'll get it turned, and it'll be fun to watch.
Last one from me. Prince Colley is a really good athlete. You've lost now Marist and Moala. How prepared is he to maybe jump into the rotation and help you sooner, if not later?
Yeah, I think look, you heard what I just said, right? It doesn't matter how good you are. We got to be able to trust you. And that trust is going to have to be accelerated with Prince. So, yes, he's moving inside, and he's going to get work, and we may have to call upon him a little bit sooner than we had expected.
Pete Byrne, you're next.
First one for me, Brian.
Eric, you created a whole new narrative in this room.
Oh, you alluded to some of the areas where you guys needed to be better in terms of executing on third down plays and,
Yeah.
and the missed tackles. Could you just elaborate specifically where you think you guys need to make the little jumps that could turn an otherwise close game into a pretty comfortable game?
Well, I think you start with the basics, tackling. The 89-yard run, our safety is in a fit position to make that tackle. We got to make that tackle. Forcing the football properly. Just the basic fundamentals. We're not talking about big picture items here. We're talking about being in a good football position and making a tackle. I think from an offensive standpoint, they've got 10 men on the field. We got to pitch and catch. We're in a great position to do so. So these are just matters of fundamentals more so than we lack personnel, right? We lack the ability to make that play. I've been in that position before too, and I don't have great answers for those. These are, let's get back out there, let's rep these, let's get in these situations again, and let's execute at a higher level, and certainly we believe we can do that.
Where's the mindset of your players between being happy with a victory, but also probably not satisfied with how they played?
Yeah, so when I called them up, they were not, there was no outward feeling of satisfaction, which I think is crazy. Winning's hard. It's too difficult. We put in so much time. We had to fly with, COVID protocols. We were in tents out on the parking lot, in Tallahassee eating our meal. I mean, there's so much that goes into this. And we had to fight in through overtime. We got back this morning at 4:30 in the morning. My point is, winning's hard. Enjoy the victory, and then critically analyze what we need to do to continue to get better. And so I want our guys to enjoy winning because it's so hard to do, and then understand that if we want to get to where we want to get to, and that is, be part of the playoffs, we certainly have a lot of work to do.
And last one from me. It's been a long time since you guys have played in front of a full stadium here at home. Just take me through what you anticipate Saturday will be like.
First of all, we just need our fans to be, as loud and as excited about being in that stadium as we are, and just welcome us back from a long layoff, and we expect that. So I'm not challenging anybody, but this is big for us. We haven't experienced this kind of environment in quite a long time. So it's a big game. It's the first opportunity for us to show our home crowd what we look like, and we just want them to be out there in full force.
John Bryce is next.
Brian, you've talked a lot this preseason camp about the depth of leadership in the program and how much you like it. So when you see it play itself out last night the way it did after losing that 18-point lead, what are the benefits of that in the moment, and then what are the benefits of that moving forward?
Yeah, I think in the moment it's, it's evolving. You're kind of, looking at it, getting a sense for, who's taking leadership during the game. Because there's one thing about being a leader in the locker room, on the practice field, and then when it's competition. So, there's evaluation as it's happening. After the game, then you see leaders and how they're interacting with players. So we're still in that process of evaluation on how we continue to help our leaders lead. I'll give you an example. Kyle Hamilton took his helmet off and got us a 15-yard penalty. He's the first guy that comes up to me and apologized and said, that's not what a captain does at Notre Dame. That's accountability. That's responsibility. That's what you want to hear from a kid who got caught up in a moment. So that makes you feel good as a coach, that you have those kind of leaders that understand that and take full accountability and responsibility. And that's why he's respected. So I saw some good signs, and we'll keep, building it from that perspective.
And then you talk about trying to drive home the message that winning is really hard and telling the guys to enjoy that. What are the steps how do you do that to keep them focused in the moment, but also let them, exhale or have some joy in the victory?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, that, like I laid out to you, that all the things that they do, the sacrifices they make in the summer and not going home and not seeing their families and, going to class and having to go to bed early and eating the right foods and making the right choices, and all of that puts them in a position. Just because you work hard, that's no guarantee that you win, right? There's no hey, we worked hard, we're supposed to win now. You have to do all these other things. And so they do that. And so they just need to understand that process that they've been so focused on is what they need to continue to do. And so we get back on it today and stay focused on that process.
And then last one from me, on your offensive line, we saw Carmody go in last night, but where are you behind Carmody on those 7, 8, 9 guys, and how
Tosh
much?
Baker and Alt will definitely be the next two, and we have confidence in both those guys that they can come in and play at a high level for us. Yeah.
Chuck Freebie, you're next.
After expending so much energy and emotion last night, you have a short week to get ready for Toledo. Do you have to talk to your team at all about the things that happened to teams like Washington and Illinois over the weekend and make sure they don't have an emotional letdown going into this game?
Yeah, I early on in the development of our program, we used to have to remind them about those things, but no longer. This is really about our preparation and how we prepare, and having an eye towards, we have to change up our routine a little bit this week. Like, I can't go out there tomorrow and have a 24-period practice. This was a physical game. They were physical. And so we're not going to go out there and have a normal Tuesday practice. So we have to adapt to the circumstances and be smart. And then they have to adapt to us relative to how they take care of themselves this week. They have to redouble their efforts in preparing themselves, and that they have to trust us that we're not going to put too much load on them as we work them through the week, but still prepare them for a really good Toledo football team.
You mentioned how good Toledo is. What are their strengths?
Offensive line, I think they're well coached, excellent scheme. And defensively, I've seen every look imaginable, from 3 safety deep to 3 down, 4 down. They just give you a myriad of looks on defense. But I think this is a mature team, a lot of veterans on it. They've got guys that can make big plays. It's a good football team, and it's well coached.
And how good was the interception that Hamilton made on the play where he took off his helmet?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I don't – look, it's hard to put superlatives in, that kind of play. There's only a few people that can make a kind of play like that with his length and his size. When you watch it again from we have the end zone copy, I mean, I don't even know how he got to the ball. So, I won't say any more.
Oh, come on.
I would have taken my helmet off too. I mean, that was one heck of a play. That's going to be out there.
All right, we're going to go to Zoom for a couple of questions. Patrick Engel, you're up next.
Brian, when you go back and watch the film on the run game, what are some of the things you noticed there where you and the offensive staff kind of want to highlight as areas to focus on and improve?
Yeah, there's some communication issues relative to, not issues, I want to be careful with that. We have to be able to make some calls on the line to lock some calls from a blocking perspective. So these are things that are easily worked out. We don't have any. Look, when you evaluate your running game, you worry about being overwhelmed at the point of attack. Now, that's a good front, and they had some good players, but these are things that we have to make some adjustments within. I don't like the fact that you're in a silent cadence. As I said, there was some. We didn't have everybody coming off the ball at the same time, which caused us to not get the kind of edge presence in terms of the double teams that we normally get, and then some internal calls that need to be cleaned up there. But those are a couple of things that need to be better for us on the offensive line.
Tim Priester, you're up next.
Brian, could you explain what went into your decision to choose Kyron Williams to return punts?
Yeah, Tim, I think, just his ability to easily catch the football, very confident, and, we just like his demeanor, like his confidence level back there. Catching punts is such that you want to be out on that beam, right? You want to walk out there because that's a position that requires an incredible amount of confidence and the desire to do it. And when one of your top skilled players comes to you and says, "Coach, I want this job. Give me a chance to do it." I think you're foolish not to give him that chance. And then he won the job. So put your best players on the field and give them a chance to make a play.
All right, thanks, Coach. That's all the time we have.
All right, thanks, guys.